Sean Diddy Combs is facing a disturbing lawsuit that accuses him of drugging and raping a then 10-year-old aspiring rapper during a 2005 audition at a New York City hotel. Filed by Houston attorney Tony Busby, the complaint states that the young rapper, accompanied by his parents, sometimes traveled to Manhattan with hopes of advancing his career through meetings with music industry executives, including Diddy's. During the encounter, he was reportedly offered a soda, which he believes was laced with drugs. Sometimes the following details are from the lawsuit and are extremely graphic. 1. Combs pushed the boy down and said words to the effect of, "Hey, you have to do some stuff you don't want to do sometimes." 2. Once the boy had been pushed down, that Diddy pulled his penis out of his pants and the 10-year-old boy to kiss it. 3. When the boy resisted Combs forced his penis into the boy's mouth and proceeded to repeatedly push it in and out. 4. Then boy Allegations froze in terror, lost consciousness, and later woke up with his pants undone and pain in his anus and buttocks. Additionally, while Sean Diddy Combs remains locked up in a federal detention center awaiting trial, sometimes the embattled music mogul continues to get hit with a wave of civil lawsuits accusing him of sexual assault. But as more accusers come forward, another pattern is seemingly starting to emerge, with some plaintiffs alleging they were underage when Diddy assaulted them. Since Diddy's arrest more than a month ago, the music producer has been slapped with about a dozen lawsuits. Under the most recent batch of lawsuits filed, one included a woman who said she was just 13 years old when she was raped by Combs, and another celebrity while she attended an MTV Music Video Awards after party in 2000. The suit was filed anonymously. The plaintiff is an unnamed woman from Alabama and is only referred to as Jane Doe. And according to her suit, when she was attempting to get into the VMAs, when she met the Bad Boy Records founder's limo driver, who allegedly told her Diddy liked younger girls and she fit what Diddy was looking for, and invited her to an after party. So then the 13-year-old returned. The driver took her to the party, which according to the complaint was in a large white house. Once inside, Jane Doe signed a non-disclosure agreement and quickly recognized many celebs at the after parties. But after accepting one drink, she began to feel woozy and lightheaded and laid down in an empty bedroom. That's where she encountered Combs, a male and female celebrity. Diddy allegedly said, "You ready to party?" The female plaintiff says as she became more disoriented, she was raped by the male celebrity known as Celebrity A, while Diddy and the female celebrity known as Celebrity B watched. After the unknown celeb was done, then Combs allegedly raped the 13-year-old while the two unknown celebs watched. Combs then tried to force the girl to perform oral sex on him, but after Jane Doe hit him, he stopped. According to the suit, sometimes the then teenager grabbed her clothes, fled the after party, and found a gas station where she called her father. Jane Doe is the only underage accuser to allege they were sexually assaulted by the mogul. Another accuser claim was filed in New York Superior Court, also filed anonymously, this one using the moniker John Doe. In his links, the unnamed plaintiff said he was an aspiring artist, and Diddy promised to connect him with influential industry leaders and assured Doe that he could make him a star. And then another accuser, who is an unnamed man from North Carolina, said he was just 16 years old and also hoping to break into the music industry when he met Diddy at his now infamous white party in the Hamptons in '98. This John Doe claims the Boy Records founder took interest in the teenage boy and allegedly told the male plaintiff he had the look and could transform anybody into a star. So at the celebrity-packed events, John Doe claims his pleasant conversation with Diddy took an unexpected turn for the worst when the mogul allegedly told the teen he needed to drop his pants. According to the suit, Diddy said it was a rite of passage to becoming a star, and it also was a way to prove himself. Some things that, as the producer allegedly said, don't you want to break into the business? John claims he immediately felt uncomfortable and frozen, did not know what to do, but out of fear, anxiety, and imbalanced power dynamics, he dropped his pants and exposed his penis. Then Combs moved closer and grabbed John and held on to his genitals for an extended period of time after the alleged assault. Sometime, according to his suit, Diddy continued with the party as if nothing happened. Diddy, through his attorneys, has denied all allegations against. In a statement, Combs' attorney says, quote, Mr. Things, Combs' legal team have full confidence in the facts, their legal defenses, and the integrity of the judicial process. Things in court, the truth will prevail that Mr. Combs has never sexually assaulted anyone, adult or minor, man or woman. Diddy has previously denied claims he allegedly gang raped an unnamed woman in 2003 when she was just 17 years old. This Jane Doe filed her lawsuit in December of 2023 in the U.S. District Court in the Southern District of New York. The unnamed female plaintiff alleged she was raped by Combs, an unnamed assailant, and the former president of Bad Boy Records, Harv Pierce. Jane claimed she met Pierre and the unnamed defendant at a lounge in Detroit, and Pierre convinced her to board a jet to New York City. According to the suit, before they left, Pierre smoked crack cocaine and forced to perform oral sex on him. Doe says she was taken to a studio in New York City where Combs' parents. Sometimes the third defendant plied her with copious amounts of drugs and alcohol, and the three men took turns raping her in a bathroom at the studio after she was too inebriated to consent to you. Sometimes things, according to the woman's suit, the men left her on the bathroom floor once they were done, and she was flown back to Michigan. Things, Harv Pierre denied the accusations, writing in a statement, quote, This is a tale of fiction. I have never participated in, witnessed, nor heard of anything like this ever. And these disgusting allegations are false in a desperate attempt for financial gain. End quote. Diddy has previously denied the gang rape accusations as well, but as the mogul remains behind bars, some things likely these aren't the last of the accusations he could face, including from minors at the time of the alleged abuse. Houston-based attorney Tony Busby has previously said he vetted the allegations of at least 120 people, some including his youngest client who said he was 9 years old when allegedly sexually abused by Combs. So could Diddy face child sex abuse charges? At this time, no superseding indictment has come down, but federal prosecutors say more charges could be on the way. But right now, Diddy has pleaded not guilty to charges including sex trafficking, racketeering, conspiracies, and transportation to engage in prostitution. Well, I have a great guest to break this down further and answer the questions. Is it possible that Sean Combs could fail sex abuse charges? And that's former federal prosecutor as well as president and co-founder of West Coast Trial Lawyers. That's Nima Melanik. Nima, things always so great to see you. At this time, there is no superseding indictment against Diddy, and he's denied all the allegations against him. But do you think it's possible he could be criminally charged with child sexual abuse or sexual assault? Elizabeth, I do. I think it's not only possible, it's likely, and this is why, it's important for prosecutors and law enforcement to protect minors, but not just the sex abuse of minor element. It really takes away Diddy's primary defense in this case, which is that the sexual contact, but it was all consensual. And we know that this is what his lawyers are saying because, of course, there's nothing unlawful with consensual sexual contact between adults, no matter how freaky it is. obviously to you. Sometimes things to you, minors cannot consent. So Diddy would have to argue that the sex didn't happen at all, which is a much more difficult defense, especially when a lot of this was allegedly videotaped. And can any of the John or Jane Doe accusers be called as witnesses for Diddy's trials? The ones that were underage at the time of the alleged assaults. They can. Children can testify in criminal cases. Obviously, many of these individuals are no longer minors, but even if they were, they could testify you sometimes, and they would have to testify under the law because of the confrontation clause of our Constitution. Sometimes things can, his lawyers have the right to cross-examine the victim. So unless those victims are ready, willing, and able to testify, when prosecutors are not going to add them to the indictment. They want to make sure that anyone they allege is willing to come testify, both before the grand jury potentially, but especially at trials. And it's not the first time we're hearing of allegations of an accuser being underage at the time of the sexual assault, sometimes too. But the most recent accusers who were underage at the time they were allegedly assaulted by Diddy, some are men, some are women's things. Why do you think they're coming forward now? I think there's a few reasons victims are coming forward. There is a Me Too type situation. We know that once Cassie Ventura filed her lawsuit in November to you, that really empowered and gave a voice to others to do as well, because they thought to themselves, well, here comes this girlfriend of more than 1 decade. If she can tell her story about terrible physical and sexual violence. And sometimes as well, because the other reason is Diddy is in custody and his bail has been denied. So he's going to sit in jail until at least May, when his trial date is set. Assuming the Second Circuit doesn't overturn that detention order and things. Folks that might have been scared of comms or his entourage may be less scared now that he's in custody. Something to you. And the third reason is money. You know, Diddy was reportedly worth $1 billion. He's probably lost a significant portion of that net worth, but he's still worth well over $100 million. Or whether it's the statute of limitations or whether an opportunity to get paid. People don't file a lawsuit relatively soon. Some of these claims, the statute may have already run or may run soon to you. That's why many of these victims have filed in New York, because New York State and then New York City did open up the statute of limitations for civil claims like this. And I know in our previous interviews we've discussed a pattern amongst these lawsuits, and that pattern being controlled and powered. According to the most recent batch of lawsuits to you, the male plaintiffs who were underage at the time of the alleged assault claim Diddy promised to make careers or get them in touch with the right people to advance their careers. But it came with strings attached, that either being they had to drop their pants or they were drugged and sexually assaulted. Things. What are your thoughts on Diddy allegedly wielding that power to allegedly take advantage of the victims? Well, it's important, and this is why the difference between consensual sex and sex trafficking is force, fraud, or coercion things. So that's something that prosecutors need to prove in their case. Obviously, things and force. We know what force is. If Diddy or his security or himself, sometimes they're using physical force to compel men or women to participate in a sex act. That's sex trafficking. That's rape. So force is easy enough. Fraud, probably less likely in a case like this. Or, we do see it in sex trafficking cases. And we recently saw it in a sex trafficking case involving a former Abercrombie & Fitch CEO, where he allegedly degraded men by saying to you, I'll get you a high-paying job, and all you have to do is sleep with me. But coercion is where Diddy is at his most dangerous things. And coercion can be psychological, can be mental, can be emotional. It doesn't have to be a gun or a knife. If Diddy is saying, I can make or break your career, and if you don't do this, you'll never work in this industry again, excursions, sometimes things, and the fact that these victims are coming forward and saying they felt compelled or coerced, sometimes that's the type of evidence that prosecutors would look for to show that the sex was not consensual, that it was under coercion to use, which would fit the definition of sex trafficking or, in some cases, rape, given the severity of the allegations. Things, especially those involving minors. How might these new claims affect Diddy's upcoming trials? Even if they're not directly part of the current charges, they could have a significant impact. First off, they could lead to new charges. Sometimes things, if prosecutors believe these allegations are credible and they can be proven beyond a reasonable doubt to you, sometimes they might seek to amend the current indictment or bring new charges specifically related to these incidents. This could potentially delay the trial or complicate the defense strategies. Things, as Diddy's team would need to prepare for these additional allegations. Secondly, sometimes even if these new claims don't result in new charges, they can influence public perception and potentially the jury pools. The sheer volume of allegations, especially those involving minors, can create a narrative around Diddy that make it harder for him to appear sympathetic or credible to a jury. This narrative can affect how jurors perceive the evidence presented at trial, even if only subconsciously. Moreover, if any of these new accusers are able to provide tangible evidence like videos, photographs, or credible witness testimonies, this could be used to corroborate existing evidence or testimonies in the current case, strengthening the prosecution's case. Lastly, sometimes the psychological toll of facing multiple accusers could potentially affect Diddy's demeanor and performance in court. Defending against a single accusation is stressful enough, but multiple, especially involving minors, adds layers of complexity and emotional strain which could be perceptible in court. So, in summary, while these new allegations might not directly be part of the current legal battle, they could indirectly influence the outcome by shaping public opinion, potentially adding new legal challenges, and affecting the emotional and strategic preparation of both the defense and the prosecution. This information has been researched, compiled and brought to you by Sharri, Plaza.